Forge World, Forge World, Forge World. What are you doing? So, fans of Horus Heresy, thank you for joining me today for another video, unfortunately where we're going to have to talk about Last Chance to Buy and Forge World. So this morning another email came around, and it is the 18th of May today, with a whole host of Horus Heresy kits that are going on to Last Chance to Buy. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to spend a little bit of time just talking about what's going on to Last Chance to Buy. And here we have some examples of these miniatures that we're soon not going to be able to get. But more, I'm going to talk about the very poor way that the message is being articulated, both in terms of how the website design, so we're talking about the IT and business analysis work, has been done, because there are problems there. And more specifically though, this is really disappointing, really disappointing, is how they are leaving certain kits completely unsupported in the range with today's announcements, and they are also going to leave some holes in terms of model availability for yet more options in the Legion. And this time the holes are things that affect all Legion. Neither Forge or Games Workshop produce a cost-effective kit to fill the gap. So yeah, Forge World, you're going to cop it again in this video because this isn't good enough. Right, let's talk about what's going. So a few examples. Let's start with these handsome chaps at the back. All of the Cataphractii Power Fist and special weapon sets are going. That's sad to see, because one of the great things about 30k is a variety of weapons you can give your Terminators. The problem is the Cataphractii Terminators themselves are still available. So yeah, that's great. You can buy the torsos, but you can't buy the weapons to put on them. It looks like Abaddon has finally had his way, and all Cataphractii Terminators do not need their arms to fight. Secondly, we see the end of both the Mark II Crusade armour and the Phobos pattern bolt gun. And it's not just a Crusade armour that's going, it's a basic Legion set, the Despoilers, the Assault Marines and the Heavy Support Marines. So they're all going as well. Next up, we have the Umbra pattern bolt gun. Our Mark VI Beakies from Forge World aren't going to be able to have their signature bolt gun, which is a disappointment. Here, if like me, you've got a few Mark Vs or Mark IIIs, no more Phobos pattern bolt guns. A weapon that is synonymous with Mark III in particular and Mark II, but definitely Mark III, they're pulling out the range. So that's going. All of the first generation or first wave heavy weapon sets are going. So this is the original Volkite Culvery, and that's been pulled from a range, which will leave us with the redesigned one. Now, is that an issue? I mean, this isn't the easiest kit to deal with. All this cabling is a pain. So I can kind of see why they might want to slim it down, but when you come to the shoulder mounted heavy weapons, we have some problems, and I'll come back to that. The original rotor cannons going, also the flamers. Yeah, bye-bye, can't have those anymore. Rotor cannons, it's fine, we've got the later edition, and that's a nice model actually. But the flamers, we don't have any option now to create tactical support squads armed with 5 or 10 flamers, or anything in between. Next up, the Graviton gun set is going. If you're an Iron Hands player, you can no longer create tactical support squads with Graviton guns. If you're playing Head of a Gorgon, you can't arm your Gorgon Terminators with Graviton guns now, without having to buy a Breacher set to get hold of that component separately. Yeah, so they've clearly decided they didn't need to support that part of the range. In addition to that, there's more. I haven't got models to show you these, but let's talk about what else is going. All of the Tartros weapon sets are going, so special and heavy weapon sets, they're gone. Again, you'll have Legion Tartros Terminator bodies you can buy, but no weapons to put on them, which is confusing. Next up, and this is where it starts to get really odd and a little bit stupid. Let's be honest, yeah. Stupid is the word. All of the original Legion heavy support sets are going. So las cannons, heavy plasma cannons, multi-melters, missile launchers, the whole lot are going, as are the Mark II support weapon marines. But don't worry, because you'll still be able to buy the Mark III and the Mark IV heavy support marines. Yes, friends, do not worry, you'll still be able to buy those guys. Just it's a shame you won't be able to, give them any weapons. Perhaps you could put some hamsters or the large mammal in their place. Perhaps you could use some shoulder-mounted or heavy weapons. No one will ever notice a difference. In addition, we are seeing the end of Deliverance shotguns, tough thing for recon squads, and Seeker bolters. So yeah, those specialised guys as well. No more option to model those onto your guys. The Seeker bolters, not so much a big thing. You can argue that's a little bit of a nice to have kit, but the shotguns are certainly more of a unique thing. So Forge World have decided they don't want to support those elements of the Legiones Astartes army list, the red book that is still in production that they sell for a live game. So, is that everything? Well, no, there's more yet. They've messed up with the listings or the tagging on last chance to buy models. So not all the models that are at last chance to buy status are actually listed under the last chance to buy page on the Forge World website. When you get the email, you click the last chance to buy link, the image that links through. You go through to the website and it gives you 28 products. This is Friday morning. They may correct it, but they've not included the Mark II, Despoiler, Assault, and Heavy Support Marines in those listings. It's a bit of an inconsistent message, or they're not giving us all the information. You could miss something if you're wanting to get some of these models before they go out of production. That is just sloppy IT testing. A simple bit of customer side IT testing would have revealed they'd not got all the products tagged correctly on their website. So come on, that's just actually Forge World. That's unprofessional. So you need to do better on that. It's not the first time you've done this. When you did the last chance to buy with the Solar Auxiliary part, you did the same thing there. You know, respect your customers. Show a high level of professionalism in terms of what you do with your website and how you articulate your message to your customers. Very straightforward, and we shouldn't expect anything less. So what does all this mean then? I'm really beginning to wonder exactly who's calling the shots here, doing what. The Forge World team were asked this at Warhammer Fest, and Tony Cottrell, Mark Bedford, both senior people in the Forge World team and others on the team, answered the question. They didn't say anything about the last chance to buy that was coming up this Friday. Let's look at it this way. You can either say they forgot to mention it, or they were deliberately avoiding the question. Yeah, I think that's a shame, and a certain erosion of trust there. But what really gets me here is the fact that they've not thought this through. They're pulling off a load of products, but they're leaving linked products, so i.e. the Mark III and the Mark IV heavy weapon troopers, the Legion Cataphracti torsos and the Tartaros Legion torsos. They're leaving them in production without the weapons needed to fully assemble those kits. Why? The whole thing smacks of not being properly thought through. And I even wonder if Forge World are, as in the design people, if they're actually being involved in this process. And I'm beginning to suspect it's completely out of their hands. And what the business analysts are doing for Games Workshop is they're doing like a bottom 5% in terms of sales to storage, or let's just call it bottom 5% of the value proposition. They've chopped that off and said, right, all these have got to go. What they've not properly done is checked all the linked products to make sure that they're supporting their ranges, or they're taking everything out of production that's linked to the parts that they're pulling, i.e. the Mark III and the Mark IV Heavy Support Marine sets and the Legion Cataphracti and Tartaros Terminator torsos. Why are they leaving some things in production that are inherently dependent on products that they are taking out of production? Something isn't right there. Those are my thoughts in this latest episode of this sorry saga. Please, as always, share your thoughts and observations in the comments. And thanks very much for listening. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.